It is May 3rd, and it is time for my monthly market in review. Today, as every first Friday of the month, we had the employment report, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, come out with their labor report. Earlier this week, ADP brought up their figures, and ADP is one of the largest payroll companies in the nation. And it is really time for a good time. Mortgage bonds, as of right this moment, are 8 points up. Stock markets, all three indices are looking up, with Dow about romancing about 200 points up at this moment in time. And this all is thanks to the employment report that came out today. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics have confirmed that 263,000 new jobs have been created in the month of April. I'll get back to this number and we'll dissect it a little bit more in a moment. And that was quite substantially more than what the expectations were, because the expectations were calling only for about 180,000 new jobs. There were also some revisions to February and March numbers reported, collectively about $16,000 on the positive. So it added again, additionally, to the strength of the market. The unemployment rate as of this morning is 3.6%. This is the lowest unemployment rate since 1969. Some of us were not even born when that employment was that low. So let's take a look at why. There's two different surveys that go into this jobs report. There is a so-called business survey, and the headline news are pretty much coming from there, but there's also a survey, a so-called household survey. The household survey is nothing else but about 60,000 households called and interviewed, asked about if they're employed, if they're full-time employed, if they've lost job recently, and so on, so forth. So it's just a dissection of 60,000 households to give us some numbers. And so the household survey, the component of the household survey that talks about new job creation was substantially less than what our headline number was, because household survey came out with only 3,000 jobs lost, not gained, lost. The reason there is such a discrepancy between the 263,000 jobs that were created versus the 103,000 jobs that were lost is in the details. And the details is that the labor force has actually decreased by a whopping $490,000. 490,000. I guess I'm talking dollars all day long. So apologies for that. And that's why the unemployment rate fell. So the unemployment rate fell because there were 490,000 people that withdrew from the labor force. That's why the number of new job creations looks so good at 263,000. All in all, if we look at the unemployment rate in the grand scheme of things, which is all people attached to the labor force on part-time basis, seasonal basis, and so on, is now at a stable 7.3%, and the participation in the labor force dropped from 63% to 62.8%, and that really corresponds with that 490,000 people withdrawing from the labor force. Average earnings went up about 0.2% in the month of April, and they're stable year over year at about a little over 3.2%. The weekly earnings declined from 3.2 to 2.9%. What that means is, even though people may be making more per hour, they're working less hours a week. That's why the weekly earnings are showing a drop, a decrease. So there's less overtime being worked by the workforce. All this put together was pretty bond friendly. And whenever the bond market looks at the information positively, mortgage bond bonds are going up, and there is a potential for mortgage interest rates to be pushing a little bit lower. So this phenomenon of Dow being up and at the same time bonds being up doesn't happen very often, and we're definitely happy to report this and are happy to let you know and bring you these news. Give me a call. Give me a call with any questions you might have on the basics of what I just gave you, but also about anything that's mortgage related. My team and I are here to serve. Thanks much, and talk to you in a month.